Hi everybody, it's Joe Cioffi here, FiOS 1 News Long Island and FiOS 1 News New Jersey on this Wednesday night. It's coming up on 20 minutes after 9 p.m. Eastern Time on April 4th, 2018. And we're still talking about snow. It's April 4th and we're talking about snow again after we just went through this on Monday. And of course, meteorologist Joe Rayo will be in here momentarily to join me. And we want this to stop. We want this to end. It needs to go away, and it needs to go away soon. I think we're all very much weary of all of this. We are getting 2 shots of snow. The first one on Friday is going to be quick and minor. That is actually the catalyst and helps to set the table for the second shot of snow, which is going to come on Saturday. When we look at this on the weather maps shortly, you're going to notice that it is very similar, eerily similar to what happened on Monday. The big difference is going to be the fact that the bulk of the snow is going to fall during the daytime, as opposed to the last event where the bulk of the snow fell from 4 a.m. till about 9 a.m. In this instance, it may start up at 4 a.m. or so in some places, but it might last into the middle part of the afternoon. So we could be seeing snow past, say, that 9 or 10 o'clock hour where the sun angle is going to be playing a role. So intensity of whatever falls is going to be key to whatever accumulations that we get. And I would tend to think that we'll probably see accumulations on colder surfaces and less so on paved surfaces as we go through the day. Maybe at the start of the day there'll be accumulation on paved surfaces, and then the sun angle might take care of the rest of it. But you know, Joe, that whole concept, we've been talking about it on and off. I think it's probably one of those things we're not going to know until it's actually happening, until we know what the intensity of the snowfall is, and you know, the exact parameters of the start time and end time, that we're going to be able to make a good guess on accumulation. It's not a big impact day. It's on a Saturday. It's not like it's on a weekday or during a holiday or something like that. So I think we should be, whatever it winds up being, we should be okay.
As I touched upon this last week, I'm gonna call it the curse of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh.
My son, when Christmas morning came, I presented my son with 2 tickets to with the exception of Hamilton, I think probably one of the biggest and hottest tickets on Broadway is SpongeBob SquarePants. Don't ask me why, but in any case, and my son grew up watching the SpongeBob show, so I figured this would be a great thing to give him. And I didn't get him the tickets until April the 2nd. He said, "Dad, why did you wait until April?" And I said, the reason is that we're in an active period of weather this winter. I don't want you to go to a play in potential snowy or icy weather. I want you to go at a time when the sun is out and the spring breezes are blowing and the temperatures are near 60, and you can walk around Broadway and you can enjoy yourself. And what has happened? What has happened? He is going to be heading to Broadway probably by train.
All right, the best laid plans of mice and men, Joe.
He's not going to be driving, but he'll be waking up on Saturday morning probably with what looks like at least some light snow. And the way things are going and the way these stupid models have been progressively pushing these storms more to the north and west with each passing run, Lord only knows what the final outcome is going to be come Saturday morning.
We still got a few days to watch it. Karen Dolovic-Callahan, I think you mentioned yesterday, Karen, you're flying out on Monday. You're fine, okay?
Monday's no problem.
No, I know, but I forgot to answer her yesterday.
Oh, well.
Karen and I go back because our kids were in soccer together. We've known each other for years.
No.
Say hi to Don. There's no walking in soccer, as he used to say. I coached her daughter for a number of years with my middle daughter.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was it was great. Those were the days when I coached soccer, which I don't do anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe, let's. I actually drew, and you haven't seen these. We both have habits of drawing our snow maps and then not showing each other until it's time. We surprise. And this is what I did for Friday, because this first system, it's fast and it's quick. I covered for the possibility that sometime between 4 a.m. and 10, I have 5 a.m. and 10 a.m. So let's
Right.
put that time frame. For most of the area will fall into that time frame. I'm thinking maybe a quick burst, maybe some areas, especially if there's some, where there's elevation, a quick coating to an inch or so, perhaps a little bit more as you go north, and that should be it. And an hour after it's done, in places where it might accumulate, it's going to be gone. It's going to disappear.
Yes.
You can actually watch it melt off the pavement.
That's exactly what happened on Monday. On Monday, where I live up in Putnam Valley, we had 5.7 inches of snow, and all of that was, for the most part, on the grass and also on my deck. Wood is one of those colder surfaces that we refer to, and there was quite a bit of snow on the deck, and of course now in my driveway there was only about an inch or two. But I did no shoveling whatsoever because the sun came out by midday, and that sun is now way, way up in the sky. And nature, I just let Mother Nature do the work. And by the time I got home later that evening, there was hardly any snow left.
Right.
So I'm probably going to end up doing the same thing on Friday with whatever comes.
That's the same sun angle now as it is in early September. If you get a sunburn in early September, you can get a sunburn now.
Well, it's what? It's the 6th of April, so we're 11 and 6 is 17 minus 22. It's 5. So now the sun angle is equivalent right now to where the sun is at midday on the 5th of September.
Right.
And if we go another few more days, it's going to be like the end of August. And once again, the atmosphere has a very long memory. The solar insolation, although the sun now is way up there the same way that it is in late August, early September, you can have 95 degrees, but that's coming off of many, many weeks of heating
warm.
the atmosphere. And we're coming off of many, many weeks of
being in the icebox.
So it doesn't play out. See, if you didn't have an atmosphere, then we would have the same kind of temperatures now that we would have in late September, late August, early September.
All right, so here's Saturday. This is what I did for Saturday. I think it's it's Wednesday, so I have just no real strong idea over about what's going to happen. So you can only talk in generalities. And I want to, by the way, just explain, this is an early snow call. At this stage of the game, this map is going to change to some degree. Some areas may go up, some areas may go down, some areas may stay the same. But from the standpoint of how the audience should perceive an early call map, it's an early guess. And you should anticipate that this is going to change. I oftentimes get I'll put up an early call map 3 days ahead of time, and as we've gotten closer to the event, I've changed numbers, massaged things. I don't change my forecast every 5 minutes. I try only to make 1 or 2 changes along the way, and they'll hold me back to the early call forecast, which a few times this year was too low. Well, that's because it was an early call forecast.
Right.
They're supposed to be too low. I can't put up something now that says we're going to get a foot or 2 feet. Not that we are, but I'm just saying you don't do that 3 days ahead of time.
Well, I broke my own rule. I've been preaching for years that nobody should put a map up. Early call is an early call or whatever, but if you're on television, you really shouldn't put up a map more than 2 days in advance. In other words, maybe tomorrow night it's time to put up a map, certainly by Friday. I would never put one up on a Wednesday for a Saturday event. I did tonight only because it's April, for goodness sake.
I know, it shouldn't be happening.
And people say, what are you talking about? And I showed the European. The European cranked out about an inch up over portions of Orange County, Putnam, Dutchess County.
Well, just kind of what I have.
To as much as 4 inches
down
by, let's say, Sandy Hook or along the Jersey shoreline,
which is kind of what I have. Potential for several such inches. I actually didn't look at the European. I just kind of looked at everything, and this is what I came up with. And I have that area in touching western New Jersey and going back down into southern Pennsylvania where I have the potential for 4 inches or more, because I think there it's going to be, it's not as urban. So much more rural areas and so on, and they may get into a good swath of moisture there. So may Long Island, and so may much of central and North Jersey, but I want to see how it all sets up. But I think this is a fair early call.
Yeah. Well, April 6th is Friday, April 7th is Saturday, and April 6th, 1982, we had 9.6 inches of snow at Central Park. It was a full-scale blizzard. I don't know if Mother Nature is trying to celebrate or commemorate that event, but it has snowed. People have been asking, is this unusual? Has it ever snowed this late in the season? Yes, it has. And in fact, as I mentioned,
snow as late as April 25th in New York City, if I remember correctly, for something sizable.
And I just mentioned to Mike Gilliam, one of our news anchors, that the latest it has ever snowed at Westchester Airport, and please don't let this happen this year, May 26th.
Oh, my.
May 26th, they saw snowflakes at Westchester Airport.
Well, that was a trace, though.
Oh, yeah. Now, we're not talking about sticking snow.
Right.
If we get sticking snow of any degree in May, I'm throwing in the towel. And
exactly. All right, so here's the... I'm going to bring up the... should I do the GFS or the NAM?
Well, the new NAM doesn't come out now.
No, because we're on daylight time. We don't need to go into that again. No. But all right, I'll use the GFS because it's got, it'll carry us through, and then I'll switch over and we'll just look at some differences. But our front went through today. We had temperatures reaching the low 70s in South and Central Jersey. We had some heavy thunderstorms there. We had downpours. We had some pretty gusty winds going into the first part of tonight. But tomorrow, unusually cold for this time of year, Joe. Doesn't get out of the 40s anywhere, and in some places probably not out of the low to mid-40s.
And with the wind tomorrow, the winds are still going to be quite busy, 20, 30 miles an hour in gusts.
Especially early.
And with that, it's going to feel more like the 30s to near 40,
right.
The 40s to near 50. And it should be in the 50s to near 60, for God's sake.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And by the way, to seasonally adjust, because we are seeing temperatures right now, generally running, let's say, 10 to 15 degrees below normal. But if you want to sort of seasonally adjust this to January, we would be right now we would be sitting with temperatures probably in the low 20s and on our way down to the low teens and single digits. I mean, that's kind of how far out of whack we are.
Right.
Now, we've got this weak low in the northern lakes. There's a weak warm front that's going to be to our south. So we get this burst of snow Friday morning, then it moves out and a cold front moves through. But now we've got another one of these vigorous waves coming out of the southwest from Texas and Arkansas, and you can see there's a fairly large swath of snow there that gets in here by daybreak Saturday. It looks like this will be another one that'll start up around 4 or 5 a.m.
Right. And
it looks, in terms of the setup synoptically, it looks almost like Monday. It's very similar.
Yeah.
The one difference, I think, that is the important difference, is the fact that this is going to continue. This is going to snow a little bit longer into the afternoon, so that bulk of that snowfall may come during that time when the sun angle is going to be important. So intensity of snow is going to be key here in terms of whether we wind up with just several slushy inches, or does it snow so hard that we put down again 6, 7, or 8. I know
6, 7, or 8.
I keep looking at the date, April 4th, and how we're talking about this is ridiculous.
Well, if you don't particularly care for snow, you might want to hope that the cold high that's building in from the central part of the nation, sticks an arm or a ridge out and cold dense air enough of that to suppress or to try to push that storm a little bit further to the south. But then again, if the storm is fast moving and rather vigorous, it may say, the heck with this, I'm just going to go straight up along.
Well, and all this, everything we've been dealing with this winter has been, we've been having to keep making adjustments north, and north. So I don't know why this one would be any different. The NAM model, because the NAM is the complete and total outperformer here, so we're going to pay attention to it. Actually, is further north, but it's further north with the northern shield of the precip. Mm-hmm. It just has more of it.
Right.
And we get into that darker blue gets in here during Saturday morning and covers all of Connecticut, northern New Jersey. That purple area there is sleet. That's at 11 o'clock in the morning. But this last model run of the NAM actually was colder than the one before. And I'm anticipating that the cold air is going to be more important.
Right.
That we're going to push that, that rain slow line is probably going to set up fairly close to where it did the last time, which was right around, I'm thinking, Route 195 in New Jersey, or just south of Route 195, offshore, all of Long Island, mostly snow, except maybe at the very beginning. And then the low moves out and weather conditions start to improve by early to mid-afternoon, I think we should be done, and then out it goes, and Sunday looks good.
Yeah, and so yeah, as I was just about to say, if you have any plans on Saturday, the first half of the day is the time when the snow likely will be problematic to a degree, and then in the afternoon hours, things should begin to lighten up and maybe even completely end from north to south across the area. So if you're going to a Broadway play, for example, hopefully it'll be winding on down by 2 o'clock.
I want to fish, and I'm not standing out in the cold and snow, for one thing. And even Sunday, by the way, when weather conditions will improve, it's going to be another cold day,
right,
with temperatures, again in the 40s. Now, I am going to say right off the bat, in case anybody brings it up, we're not talking about Tuesday of next week.
No.
Okay?
No.
We're not going to talk about it. So,
see, we on television, we have to not talk about it, but at least allude to it when we bring up the 7-day outlook.
Right.
So,
well, I had it up there, but I didn't say anything. So once again, let's just review for anybody who joined late. This is the Friday snowfall map. I don't think I had to do 2 back-to-back snowfall maps. This is the first time I had to do it all season,
right,
because of these 2 fast-moving seasons. This is Friday, okay, which is not a problem at all. It's a quick burst, a coating to an inch or so, maybe a bit more as you go northwest New Jersey, perhaps up in the Hudson Valley north of 84. It could be 1 to 2, maybe an isolated 3-inch amount on some mountaintop, okay? And then on Saturday, this is the early call for Saturday. Anticipate this to change in some way over the next 2 days, although I probably won't change much of this until we get to Friday. But here's the early call. Potential, a fairly large area, potential for several slushy inches. Right now I have that 4 inches or more west and south. That could very easily come east and north. We may be moving lines. The northern edge should be a sharp cutoff.
Right. The
northern edge I feel pretty good about. The southern edge right now I feel pretty good about. We may have to move those lines up and down. And for those of you watching who consume this information really need to expect with these snowfall forecasts that we do, and this has always been the case, that there's always going to be some kind of adjustment one way or the other. You're never going to get a perfect forecast. There's always going to be a bust for somebody someplace. But when you hear snow is coming and you want to know how much it's going to fall, expect that the forecast you see is going to adjust in some way. Sometimes it adjusts by a lot. Sometimes it doesn't adjust by it adjusts by very little. Let's hope that I won't have to adjust it too much in either direction. Just get it done, and then we can just wait till see what next Tuesday brings. Which we're not talking about.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
My buddy Tony Chirico, who I went to high school with, is on, and good to see you, Tony. Let's see.
I think I mentioned last night, though. I think the pattern, this crazy pattern, looks like it may finally begin breaking down by the end of next week, maybe around the 13th, Friday the 13th, for all intents and purposes. And then after that, maybe not go into an abnormally warm weather pattern, but at least back to near normal, which will feel nice, considering all of what we've been through in terms of the temperature and in terms of the precipitation.
On the other hand, I did happen to notice today a little bit of blocking developing again for the second half of the month. Now, whether that happens or not remains to be seen. Of course, leave it to a snow lover like Christopher Timlin, who says that the longer it snows now, the less we have to wait for next winter. The less time we have to wait for next winter.
That crossed my mind that with each day that we have this kind of atrocious winter pattern still hanging on, it's one less day that we have to enjoy springtime or enjoy the benefits of what we normally would have at this time of the year. It kind of like, it shrinks down our spell of decent weather or mild weather or pleasant weather.
Marco Mastro really pointed something out that I did notice today. I bring up the visible satellite because we're still got enough. It hasn't gotten dark yet, so we can still see it. But you can see the snow showers he was flying to Toronto and above the clouds, and you could see them come in. Now, this is what it looks like on the visible picture. You got the storm center moving up into southeastern Canada there, and look at these. Look at the plumes of snow showers just running in off the lakes and getting pretty far to the east.
Yeah.
And they get to about the Catskills, and then they dry up. And you can see how the skies have cleared here along the coast. This is actually from earlier, Joe. I'm just going to freshen this up really fast.
Well, by now it's probably dark.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's probably.
And that sometimes happens. Sometimes when you look at the computer models and they say that for our neck of the woods in the tri-state area we have close to zero probability of any kind of precipitation or any kind of snow, for example. But if you have a vigorous wind, and we do certainly have a vigorous wind tonight blowing out of the northwest over the Great Lakes, sometimes one of those renegade snow showers makes it all the way down, even up and over the Appalachians and down into the tri-state area, and you end up with a snow shower or even a locally isolated snow squall. It can happen when you have this type of brisk, gusty wind that we have tonight. With wind chills tonight in the teens tonight?
Right. Timothy Veltman says if you aren't allowed to talk about it, only mention it, why put it on the 7-day forecast on the news? Let me just make clear, it's not that we're not allowed to talk about it. It's that we are not allowing ourselves to talk about it. We're not talking about it.
Right.
If only because of the fact that, and this is a policy I've always had. When there's multiple systems, okay,
take them one at a time.
I'm not talking about something 6 days from now when I've got something inside 2 days or 3 days.
Right.
I can't devote the time I need to devote to look at what's going on. So that's why I'm not talking about it. It's not because somebody told us we can't talk about it.
No, it's not. In fact, it's just
no one silences us ever, ever.
It's quite but he's got it reversed. The powers that be here at the television station I'm just saying, they want us to talk about a 7-day. If we don't do a 7-day outlook, if we only do, let's say, a 3-day or a 5-day outlook, people, I guess, when they look at these surveys or whatever, they say, well, what's wrong with this station? All the other stations are doing 7-day. Why are they only doing 3 days or 5 days, whatever? Now, I'm sure every single broadcast meteorologist, credentialed meteorologist, would prefer to only do a 3-day outlook or at the very most a 5-day outlook, but it's the hierarchy that wants the 7-day, and now, in one particular case, a 10-day outlook. Before you know, we're going to be doing 15-day outlooks.
Right, but
what good that they
just
are.
To be clear, no one has.
We just don't want to talk about it because we're tired.
Right, and no one's ever really told us. No one that in my professional experience, no boss has ever said to me, "You need to talk about this. You need to talk about that. Don't talk about this. Talk about that."
That has never.
That's ever happened to me. I don't know that it's ever happened to anybody that I know of professionally. So,
but they also know, they being the hierarchy, not just at this station but at other stations as well. They know one thing, and it's a secret: weather drives the newscast. If there's any kind of a semblance of a storm, and indeed tomorrow night and Friday night, what is the one thing that everybody's going to want to know? They don't want to know about politics. They probably don't even want to know at this early stage of the baseball season whether the Mets or the Yankees won. They want to know, is the weather going to screw up my Friday and especially my Saturday if I'm going to the theater?
Right, you're back to that again.
They're not. The tickets, by the way, are not for the evening performance. They're for the matinee. These tickets are for the matinee.
And what was the name of the play?
That
Most Happy Fella.
Yeah.
You can't beat me on I Love Lucy trivia, Joe.
You're the king.
You asked me the one question that probably no one knows the answer to, and I got the answer.
Right. We're in the Jacques Marcel episode.
The Jacques Marcel dress.
When Lucille Ball or Lucy Ricardo says if she doesn't get the dress, she's going to go on a hunger strike, but yet she was hiding food.
Right.
I said, what page of the book did she hide the bologna?
23 bologna. All right, and speaking of bologna and cold cuts, let's call it a night here. So we'll be back tomorrow at the same time, 9:15 for the Joe and Joe Show. We'll update you on what's going on. Meanwhile, Mr. Rayo.
Yes. Oh, you want me to tell where I'm going?
I always go first. I thought in my head, okay, let me have him go first.
All right.
Mr. Rayo.
Well, I am on tonight and for the rest of this week, FiOS 1 News Lower Hudson Valley, and he is on
FiOS 1 News Long Island and FiOS 1 News New Jersey. Brian Fitzgerald and Jeff Benson will be on in the morning to get you going on your morning commute. And
you want me to say Brittany Borer and Addison Green?
Take your cue.
Brittany, the lovely Brittany Borer and Addison Green will be on in the midday hours, taking care and looking at all sorts of stuff. And then that's when we walk in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that'll be when the European comes out, and that's when we start screaming.
Oh,
I
just heard the door open. You know who may be walking in?
Who?
Leopold. All right, folks. Good night. Overture, don the lights. This is it, the night of nights. No more rehearsing and nursing apart. We know every part by heart. Overture, don the lights. This is it, we'll hit the heights. And oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show, this is it.